Initially, I was furious when my cheating wife said she was going on a date with her affair partner. But then, my love life was good and full of happiness until it wasn't. I don't know if I was the one with a problem or love couldn't handle my happiness anymore. Have you ever felt like you were suffocating from what you were experiencing? If there is anyone who was once in my shoes, how did you deal with the ordeal? Did you leave everything as is, or you took a decision that you thought was only best for you? The decision that I took, I sometimes think that it was drastic, even though I do not regret it at all. I know that some people would think that what I did was not normal and it cannot be done by a normal person as it was gruesome. But both my wife and her affair partner deserved it. I wanted to break my ex-wife's heart and soul just as she did mine. I trusted her so much I really thought that we had a good thing going on, but clearly I was fooling myself. I planned a very bitter but sweet revenge. I mean, you can't stab me in the back and think I would let you live to tell a tale. Let me tell you what happened. My name is Richard Collins, male 32. I have been married for 8 years to my university sweetheart Jessica Logan, female 28. We started dating in her first year in Washington University and I was in my second year. I remember the first time she approached me, she was a bubbly and beautiful lady. I, on the other hand, was just a weirdo studying computer sciences and she was doing economic studies. She was a very forward person, but I liked the fact that she was herself. We dated for a year and a few months and I proposed to her during summer holidays. She was 19 years at that time and I was 22 years. Our relationship was full of life, love, and happiness. Jessica understood my weirdness, being a computer geek. We got married when she turned 20. Her parents didn't like me for her, but she knew what she wanted, so she chose me despite disapproval. I bought a house for us in 2016 on our first year anniversary because it was time we built our own family. From 2016, we have been trying to have a child with no luck. I don't want to lie, I'm really sad about that because we even went to different doctors and we were told that nothing was wrong. In 2022, Jessica started changing. She became a person I don't know. I remember when she lied to me about where she was going. She forgot that I am a computer person and I always know where she goes and who she is in contact with. She told me she was visiting her friend Cheryl, but she didn't know I already had information of where she was going. So went to the restaurant that she went to with her friend Cheryl. Because I trusted her with my life, I decided not to ask any questions. She was my wife, so I had to give her the benefit of the doubt. Time passed and her constant going out became something that I didn't want to tolerate anymore. It was sickening if you ask me. I tried talking to her, but the only thing she would do was to dismiss me and tell me that I would get sick if I kept on stressing and imagining things that were not even there. She even had the nerve to say that I was delusional. She was no longer doing her wifely duty. She would wake up, make herself a light breakfast, then prepare herself for her never-ending outings, and it was really exhausting. So I planned to bug her phone. I downloaded a tracking app that would track her phone's location, but I had to first try and get her phone and search for any conversations. I couldn't come to the conclusion of being cheated on, so I had to check their text conversations. I wanted to know who this guy that she always laughs with on the phone and make her always go out and to find out what was really going on between them. I couldn't let insecurities ruin my plan because that day was the day of our anniversary, but she didn't remember. So when Jessica was in the bathroom, I got a chance to take her phone and searched for any tangible evidence that I would use to confront her. I found nothing, which meant she had either deleted all their conversations or they were communicating through phone calls only. Giving up without any evidence was not on the list, so I continued with my tracking plan. I was in a mix of anxious anticipation and hope that I would gather all the evidence I needed before jumping to conclusion. A moment later, Jessica came down, looking good and ready to go. She had told me that she was going to her friend's house because she had planned a small bachelorette for one of her friends and there'll be a few ladies. I just looked at her without saying anything because what she was wearing didn't look like she was going to a bachelorette party with her friends. I had to act like I didn't have any problem with that. I was anxious about the outcome of her plans, so I switched on the tracking app on my phone. I wanted to know if she was really going to her friend's house, of which indeed she was. She didn't stay long at her friend's house, which made me more suspicious of where she was going because there was no way the bachelorette would have lasted less than an hour. I continued monitoring her phone's location. My emotions got high as I was waiting for the confirmation of my suspicions. The tracking app showed me that she was going to a hotel not far from the venue that I had booked for our anniversary party, so it was where it would take place. My curiosity told me that she was meeting up with him. Why would she disrespect our day like that? On our anniversary day. I asked myself why Jessica would be so selfish and self-centered. It's not like I was not doing anything for her. I called my sister and told her that I would meet up with them at the venue a bit later. since she was the one helping me with the anniversary party planning. I drove to the same hotel Jessica had gone to and went to the hotel's restaurant and sat where there was a clear view to see everything. So I ordered a drink to pass time, and 30 minutes later, I heard this guy, or must I say a girl, talking to the reception lady. He or she looked like those lesbians that are well off and clean. He introduced himself or herself as Chris Marvin and was there for his girlfriend, Jessica Logan. The lady made a call before directing the guy to Jessica's room. I wasn't sure if he was talking about my Jessica, but there was only one Jessica Logan in the hotel. I thought my mind was playing tricks on me. My wife would never be friends or book a room with the lesbian, or let me say another woman. I told myself that maybe they were just friends because Jessica couldn't be living a double life. She respected herself, or that's what I thought, and she respected our marriage. Even though my heart couldn't stop beating, it was like it was going to come out of my chest. I was a nervous wreck. Curiosity got the better of me. I had come up with a plan. I ordered a few beers. I was not going to do this sober, so I had to be at least tipsy. I didn't know if I would handle the truth when I uncover it, or maybe I should have just let things be. If you were in my situation, what would you do? I prayed to find nothing that would jeopardize our relationship and ruin the night that was supposed to be our anniversary night. I decided to do my own investigation, so I left the hotel's restaurant and went back home. I told my sister that the party was canceled and she should tell the guests whatever excuse she would tell them. My sister was angry at me, but she wasn't angry, hurt, and confused as I was. I tried asking and answering myself about what I heard in that hotel. I kept telling myself that not my Jessica. She can't be involved with another woman. I didn't want to believe what I had heard. She came back the following day. She was too happy for my liking, but I didn't ask her that. I asked how the bachelorette party was, and obviously she lied and said it was good. I then reminded her that it was our anniversary day the previous day, and the only thing she did was asking me if it was really our anniversary, and acted like she was feeling bad for leaving me to sleep alone in our bed while she slept at a hotel with whoever that lesbian was to her. She apologized, but I knew that it wasn't genuine, so I just gave her a nod and continued with what I was doing. Later on, she prepared for another outing. She was unruly and uncontrollable. Initially, I was furious when my cheating wife, Jessica, told me that she was going on a date with her friends while I knew that she was going with her affair partner. The betrayal cut deep, as I had suspected something was going on for a while, but never imagined she would actually go through with seeing someone else. My mind was filled with anger, sadness, and confusion as I tried to make sense of the situation. One day I sat her down and asked if she was still happy with our marriage and told her that she better tell me the truth. She then confessed that she was happy, but the happiness that she was getting in our marriage was not enough because she would feel like she was living a lie. I gave her the platform to further explain what she was saying. She then told me that she was bisexual. I had never heard of a name like that, so I asked what that was. She told me that she has feelings for both males and females, but she is mostly attracted to females. She explained that she was living a double life and that she wanted to tell me, but she didn't know how to without hurting me. I mean, I was already hearted, so why wouldn't she just spill the beans once and for all? I just looked at her crying in a river, then I bluntly asked if she meant that she was cheating on me with a woman. I didn't know what to say to her, but I was angry and furious at the fact that I was competing with a woman in Jessica's life. A week passed. I hadn't given myself to wrap my head around what Jessica has revealed. She came to the living room and found me going through some emails on my laptop. She told me that she was going out on a date with Chris, her affair partner. In her mind, she really thought that I had accepted the shitty explanation that she gave me the other night. I just looked at her without saying anything until she said that she was not going to be coming back. So my so-called wife was actually trying to live a polygamous or double life and expected me to be okay with that. But instead of succumbing to despair, I decided to take matters into my own hands and craft a plan for sweet revenge. I meticulously plotted a series of events that would not only expose her infidelity, but also make her regret ever betraying me. With each step of my plan, I felt a sense of empowerment and satisfaction, knowing that justice was being served in my own way. As the day of her date arrived, I watched from a distance as my plan unfolded, revealing the truth to her in a way that left her stunned and speechless. Seeing the shock and realization in her eyes, I knew that my revenge was not only sweet but also served as a lesson she would never forget. In the end, I walked away with a sense of closure and a newfound strength, knowing that I had stood up for myself in the face of betrayal. Jessica once told me about her friend Chris that had been supporting her through her struggles, something that was unknown to me. It was really strange because she had never mentioned anything about being depressed to me or upset. The idea of my wife seeking emotional support from other people was somehow painful, but learning that she wanted to be mentally involved with this new friend of hers was devastating. After I got tired of living the same as Jessica, I decided to move out of the house. We separated, but I wouldn't just give up on my marriage without a fight. I had to avenge my broken heart after she had played it like a yo-yo and thought that she would get away with it. As much as I would have been angry if she cheated with someone else, maybe another man, but to cheat on me with another woman. I take that as a pure disrespect because it meant that her desires for other women started a long time ago, maybe before we were even dating. I knew that if I wanted to avenge my heart, then I should move out so that I could brainstorm and orchestrate my revenge plan. I wanted it to be sweet and smooth and get them when they are least expecting. Yes, I said them because it wouldn't be fair to avenge my wife only while there was another party involved. I knew for a fact that Jessica's affair knew that she was married, but he or she continued getting into a relationship with a married woman. The nerve. As much as I knew that it was not going to be easy for my wife to confide in me because of my mental health problems that would sometimes come in between our relationship. My problem in the relationship had been chronic and mild problems that, while consistent, were never anything that couldn't change with improvement in my health or effort. But as far as I knew, that had never been a case of infidelity in our relationship. I was sitting in the dimly lit living room staring blankly at the wall as I processed the news my wife had dropped on me. My hands were shaking with a mixture of anger and fear as I tried to wrap my head around what she once said. A couple of days later, she called me. Yes, she would always report whenever she was going, but I didn't care. She told me that I'm going on a date with her lesbian affair partner, she had said casually, as if she was just informing me of her plans for the night. The woman she had been having an affair with, the woman who had invaded our marriage and destroyed our trust. I felt a surge of fury rising within me, a primal rage that threatened to consume me whole. How dare she have the audacity to flaunt her infidelity in my face like this? How could she be so heartless, so cruel? She even sent her coordinates, which was something I really didn't care about. But as the initial shock wore off, a chilling realization crept in. This was no ordinary date. This was something far more sinister, far more twisted than a simple dinner or movie outing. I could feel a cold sweat breaking out on my skin as my mind raced with horrific possibilities. What if this was some kind of ritual, some dark pact between them that would seal their unholy union? What if this date was meant to solidify their connection in ways that were beyond my comprehension? I stood up abruptly, the room spinning around me as I tried to make sense of the nightmare unfolding before me. My wife watched me with a knowing smile, her eyes gleaming with a malevolent light that sent shivers down my spine. In a daze, I stumbled out of the house and into the cold night air, my thoughts a jumble of terror and despair. I knew I had to stop them, to prevent whatever dark forces they were about to unleash upon the world. As I drove towards the location she had mentioned, a sense of dread settled in the pit of my stomach. The streets were empty and silent. The only sound was the eerie whisper of the wind as it rustled through the branches of the trees. I arrived at the abandoned mansion, the crumbling facade looming ominously in the moonlight. The air was thick with foreboding as I made my way inside, my heart pounding in my chest. I found them in the center of the grand ballroom, illuminated by the flickering light of a single candle. My wife was dressed in a flowing black gown, her hair cascading down her shoulders like a curtain of darkness. The man stood beside her, his eyes glinting with a hunger that sent a shiver down my spine. As they turned to face me, I saw something in their expressions that made my blood run cold. It was a look of triumph, of malevolence that filled me with a terror so profound that I could barely move. And then, in a voice that was not entirely human, my wife spoke. "Welcome, my love," she hissed. "Welcome to the beginning of the end." I watched in horror as they began to chant in a language that was foreign to my ears, a guttural sound that resonated with a power that was as ancient as it was fearsome. The candle flame flickered and danced as their words filled the air, weaving a web of darkness that threatened to ensnare me. And as I stood there, paralyzed with fear and disbelief, I knew that I was witnessing something beyond my comprehension. I was witnessing a union of evil, a pact forged in the fires of betrayal and deceit. At that moment, I realized that my wife's infidelity was not just a betrayal of our marriage, but a betrayal of everything good and pure in this world. And as the shadows closed in around me, I knew that I was facing a horror that was beyond my wildest nightmares. I closed my eyes and took a deep breath, steeling myself for whatever lay ahead. I knew that I had to stop them, to prevent their dark ritual from reaching its bloody conclusion. And with a newfound resolve, I stepped forward into the darkness, ready to face the horror that awaited me. I couldn't believe that my wife was not only cheating with another woman, but they were involved in the dark underworld activities. I didn't know the person in front of me, She looked like the devil himself, from the way she was busy smiling at whatever that they were doing, a goat being slaughtered. Yes, I was scared and I was close to peeing myself because what I was witnessing in that abandoned building was definitely not normal. But at the same time, I was enraged at the fact that she made me travel to an unknown and secluded place to make me witness such evil. I knew that as much as I wanted to avenge my broken heart, I also had to think of something brutal. I needed to gather something that would make her regret ever having feelings or being attracted to other women. I knew that something was off with her constant going out, but I only thought that she was only going to this lesbian affair partner of hers. One would think that she is an innocent but bubbly girl. They would say that she was an angel while she was just an angel of darkness. So I decided to investigate this lesbian affair partner called Chris. My conscience kept telling me that whatever it was that I would find was really dark and deep. I couldn't shake off the feeling that he or she was the one who introduced my wife, or must I say my ex-wife, to these dark cult things. I knew that this so-called Chris was not innocent, especially not after the trauma that they had made me witness. I had to find something that would destroy both of them. So my solution was to find the root of all the madness that they were busy doing. My investigation was for both of them. I needed every single detail about them. During my investigation and findings, I found out that my wife was actually in a paid relationship. Or must I say she had a transactional regular client, which kept buying whatever service she was offering. I couldn't believe that Jessica would actually play me like that. Another thing that I had found was that this lesbian affair that Jessica was busy with was actually from Africa and Ghana. I got that she was involved in some dark or witchcrafting group that usually recruits new members from around the world. The group that they were in would perform rituals, not just any rituals, but deep and very dark rituals where blood and human skulls were taken like chips. So in my findings, I think that Jessica was blinded by their relationship to a point that she didn't even see that she was getting herself in a trap. As much as my heart still loves Jessica, and I think it would be hard to move on and forget about her, but I didn't care about her. I mean, she is old enough to cheat and get herself in the dark world. My only mission was to destroy whatever that they have and make them suffer. A few days after I got home, since I had gone to our marital home, I found Jessica looking so livid. It was like she had seen a ghost or something. I didn't know how, and when she had come back from her friend's place, I greeted her, and she started apologizing about everything and promised to change. Well, not all promises are meant to be kept, because even when we started dating, she promised to be a better person than she was. Our whole relationship, she had been making promises after promises. Didn't she get tired? Because I got tired. A few days later, she was served with divorce papers. Then I asked her to sign them in peace. I was not going to be greedy. She was my wife, and she holds a very special place in my heart, so I opted to leave her the house that we were staying at, since she had sold her grandmother's house to pay for her studies when we were still dating. It was the least I could have done. I was not thinking of her well-being, but for her to be depressed until she says she can't do it anymore and maybe end her miserable and pathetic life. Time passed. She started throwing shades at me on social media, causing drama and calling me names, not thinking what he was doing was not going to affect me in any way. With all the evidence that I had got, I knew that it was my time to hit back and attack. Jessica thought that because she was popular on social media, she was untouchable. One good thing that I did on that fateful night was that I had taken the video. So I uploaded it online so that all her followers and people around the world to see the kind of woman that I had married. After she saw the video that I had posted on social media, she came back home like lightning. She asked why I had posted that video and told me how it would ruin her image. She then tried explaining what had happened when she talked bad about me, but I didn't want to hear anything, the way I was furious. I knew that if I was an aggressive person, I would have murdered her on the spot. As she was busy rambling, trying to apologize and explaining, I dropped a very huge and unexpected slap on her face. She got so shocked and she went to the living room trying to run away from my furiousness. But when she got there, the first eyes she saw that would haunt her forever were my mom's and my mother-in-law's, Jessica's mother, eyes. They were looking at her like she was the most disgusting thing. I left them there and went to deal with another case that I had been delaying. I went to the lesbian's flat that she was renting, which was like 45 minutes from my house. I used my computer skills to get into her or his flat. I saw that she was out of it, probably tired from being a night hawker. I poured the lesbian with cold water on her face and told to wake up. That time my adrenaline was on another level. I wanted to hurt someone bad. I wanted him or her to beg for my mercy. I tied him on a chair and told him to confess everything that they were doing in that cult-looking place. She was stubborn, but I showed her my dagger knife. As I was recording the whole thing, I called Jessica and let her affair do the talking. I had instructed that she should tell Jessica to come to his flat urgently. Luckily, my Jessica came, and the more the merrier, right? I also tied her on the chair next to her affair partner. I asked them to tell people everything that they were doing in the dark world. With each step of my plan, I felt a sense of empowerment and satisfaction, knowing that justice was being served in my own way. The videos started trending as they were telling the world their dark stories. I would feel my hair standing and my blood would run cold. My mother was really hurt because she had taken Jessica as a daughter, but she disappointed her. Jessica was busy begging me to stop the video, but I was enjoying every little thing that was happening. She kept apologizing, but I was not going to forgive her, even though in my heart she's still there. After the videos trended, I heard that the lesbian affair partner was actually a wanted suspect in his country. He was popular by abducting small kids and serial murdering. So somehow the videos I linked helped the police department to catch him. It was difficult having to end things with the person I loved and shared my all with, but I had to think of myself first, and I couldn't leave my mother alone. I am too young to die from Jessica and her affair's dark activities. Days passed, and I saw the news, and on the news they were reporting about an accident that had occurred not far on the highway that was not far from my house. When I looked closely at the car, I noticed the registration number, and I saw that it was Jessica's car. The way the car looked, I was not sure if she was still breathing or not, but the reporter then said that the victim was badly injured and fighting for her life in hospital. I wanted it to be scratched, but I guess she failed to use them. Her affair partner was arrested after they were done confessing their sins. Jessica got lucky because she was put in the victim's box. I also wanted her to have a taste of prison, but then again I thought that tempering with her car tires was the best option. I knew that I had done a lot to avenge my broken heart and those who were victims of the lesbian called Chris, but I was feeling empty inside. A few days later, I saw a very shocking video. The video showed the lesbian, who was my ex-wife's affair partner, getting panel beaten in prison. They were actually torturing the poor guy or girl. I knew if Jessica was to see the video, she would suspect me, even though I would have loved to have Chris tortured, but I was done with everything. I didn't care anymore. Surely she would blame me for whatever that was happening in her life and forget that she was the one who went outside our marriage and cheated. Not once or with one person, but with two people. Was I not good enough for her to do me dirty like that? I checked my socials to see what was trending and going on in the world. The first thing I saw were pictures of Jessica and her lesbian affair partner, Chris. It looked like someone had posted them and wrote a lot of bad things about her. It showed that I was not the only one that she had wronged. She had enemies. I once suspected that it may be her friend because she was the only person who was pretty much angry at the things that Jessica was doing with her AP. People were dragging her name to the mud to a point that I actually felt sorry for her because as much as she had done me wrong, and I avenged myself for that. I believed that she deserved a break after everything that had been happening. Sure, she was furious, angry, and hurt because whoever did that really ruined her life and my reputation more. Days later, I decided to find out who had linked the pictures of Jessica and her affair. Not that I cared, but I wanted to know the person who had that gut, only to find out that indeed it was her friend. Jessica didn't only ruin our relationship and marriage, but she also ruined her relationship with her friends because she was busy head over heels with her witch affair partner. Her name was tarnished to a point that if she were to try and pick herself up, it would be hard. About a week later, I had to fix myself and try claiming back my life. Jessica had made the apology video she sent to my sister. I think she got her number when she texted her a long, angry text swearing at her. Jessica had started calling and texting me apologizing. She was desperate to get a father figure and attention and controlled by desires, which was why she resorted to getting into relationships with the lesbian affair partner most of the time, because her own father never had time for her, but he had time for her other siblings. And somehow I also didn't have time for her, which was a very stupid excuse if you ask me. I wondered why she had never told me that. I mean, I was her husband, so I had a right to know. I know I had been a bad husband to her because I was busy chasing money and making sure that I do not let my father down in his grave because he had trusted me to continue with his legacy, which was an IT company. I felt really bad that I was also the cause of her resorting to spending time with other people outside our marriage. Not that I regretted putting her sexual or love affair in jail. He or she deserved it and everything that is still coming to him or her. It had been 6 months since I found out about my wife's infidelity. The pain and betrayal cut deep, leaving me feeling lost and broken. I never would have imagined that the person I had spent the last 10 years of my life with could do something so cruel. I spent countless nights tossing and turning, haunted by the image of my wife with another woman. The questions swirled in my mind like a never-ending storm. Why did she do it? Was I not enough for her? What did this other woman have that I didn't? I tried to bury my pain in work, throwing myself into projects and deadlines to distract myself from the reality of my crumbling marriage. But no matter how busy I kept myself, the pain was always there, bubbling just beneath the surface. I found solace in therapy, seeking guidance and understanding from a professional who could help me navigate the murky waters of betrayal. Through tear-filled sessions, I slowly began to unravel the tangled mess of emotions that had consumed me. I learned to confront my anger and sadness head-on, allowing myself to feel the pain instead of repressing it. As the months passed, I started to see glimpses of healing. The sharp edges of my pain began to soften, replaced by a sense of acceptance and understanding. I realized that my wife's infidelity was not a reflection of my worth, but rather a reflection of her own struggles and insecurities. I made the decision to forgive her, not for her sake, but for mine. Holding on to anger and resentment would only poison my own heart, preventing me from moving forward and finding peace. Moving on was a slow and arduous process. I had to rediscover who I was outside of my marriage, reconnecting with old hobbies and passions that had long been buried beneath the weight of my pain. I leaned on friends and family for support, finding comfort in their unwavering love and understanding. But through it all, I never lost sight of the most important lesson I had learned: that healing is a process, not a destination. It takes time and patience, self-reflection and self-compassion. And while the scars of my past may always remain, they serve as a reminder of the strength and resilience that lies within me. As I sit here now reflecting on the journey I have traveled, I am filled with a sense of peace and gratitude. I am grateful for the pain that forced me to confront my deepest fears and insecurities. I am grateful for the love and support that buoyed me in my darkest moments. And above all, I am grateful for the opportunity to start anew, to rebuild my life on a foundation of self-love and acceptance. So here I stand, a survivor of betrayal and heartbreak, a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. And as I look towards the future with hopeful eyes, I am reminded that the best is yet to come. But the leopard doesn't change its spots, so if I were to take her back, how sure would I know that she won't repeat what she had done, and how would I ever forget the betrayal she once did? I don't know if I had made a good decision for what I did. Do you guys think I handled everything well, or I should have done better? Please advise me.